Becky, and I want to share with you the Adornable Elements Beads of the Month clubs that I got for August 2025. There are 6 available Beads of the Month clubs that you could subscribe to. One is the 11 seed beads, Beads of the Month, the 2-hole beads, the hot and trendy, which is like a whole bunch of fun shapes with some of them have like 3 or 4 hole beads. There's the Delicas Beads of the Month. There's the Fire Polish Beads of the Month, and there's the Gemstones Beads of the Month. Now the 2 that I get every single month are the 11 seed bead Beads of the Month and the 2-hole bead Beads of the Month. And I also get the rotating Beads of the Month, which rotates through all 6 throughout the year. So each year I'll get 2 of each of the things out there, including some of the ones that I already subscribed to. And when that happens, I just get a double dose of that. And this month, my double dose was a second helping of the 11 seed bead Beads of the Month. These all come in 12.5 gram containers. And then we've got various sizes for the 2-hole Beads of the Month. So I'm going to be showing you what was in that. And I also they've got some companion packs. Sometimes it's, they've got a crystals companion pack and a findings companion pack. And I subscribe to the findings companion pack, which usually gets me some sort of unique and interesting findings that you don't always find anywhere else. So I'll open that up as well. Now, if you're waiting for your package, you haven't gotten it yet, and you don't want spoilers, go ahead and save this video to watch later and come back to see what I got when you are done. But if you want to keep going, you don't mind spoilers, and you want to see what's in this month's subscription, keep watching. Also, I am going to be doing a little design on the fly at the end of this unboxing. So stick around for that because it's going to be some fun to put that together. I'm probably going to be piecing together some of these 2-hole beads, kind of like a puzzle. And so you'll get a chance to see my design process and how I play around with the beads to see how they fit together. So, because it is going to be on the fly, it's not something that I've planned. Sometimes that doesn't work, sometimes it does, but we can do that together. All right, I'm getting ready to move this off of here so that we can see what we've got. And it looks like, here we go. So the 2 themes on this, we've got Purple Haze for the 11 seed beads, and then we've got Shooting Star for my 2-hole beads of the month. And I think these 2 are really complementary. They don't always go together that well. It's not planned that way, but when it does, it's pretty fantastic. All right, let's turn this the right way so that we can get this in the correct shape. And we'll describe the beads. We'll get a little bit closer into the dish that I've got these all out on. And we'll get up close and personal with all of these beads. Now the first 11 seed bead that we're going to be looking at here is Amethyst Lined Crystal AB. It's crystal glass with a purple lining and AB finish. The next one here is just Amethyst AB. Amethyst glass, no lining on that one, and they look almost like the same, but they're totally different bead colors, and you can tell when they're right next to each other for these 2. But this one is Metallic Dark Variegated Iris, and then we've got Dyed Smoky Opal Silver Lined Alabaster, and I love silver lined, like opal-y kind of seed beads. They always feel like they've got kind of a glow to them. Then we've got another silver lined seed bead here. It is Dyed Violet Silver Lined Alabaster. And our very pretty neutral for this palette is we've got a Matte Metallic Gunmetal. Oh, I love that. Ooh, looks like we've got a little friend from one of the other. There we go. Put that back over there. And then we've got this one here. It is Matte Opaque Mauve or Mauve, depending on how you pronounce that. And then Montana Blue Gold Luster. I love this color. It's such a pretty, delightful, serene color palette that we've got going on there. And now for the 2-hole beads of the month, let's jump over here to these silky beads. Now these are some silky beads. Let me grab, actually. These beads are square shaped, but they have holes that go kind of kitty corner through the corners. Some silky beads are flat on both sides. These silky beads have a bump across the middle, so there's a right and a wrong sides to them. And these are white alabaster jet luster silkies. There are 20 pieces in this subscription. Next we have piggy beads. Piggy beads are kind of cup-shaped beads with 2 holes, but they are offset. One hole is in the center of the cup shape, and the other one is closer to the rim. These ones are opaque blue turquoise piggy beads, and there were 20 of these in our subscription as well. Next we've got some Samos Parpuka, and Parpuka is the name of the manufacturer, and these are the Samos shape beads. They are little ovals with a flat side on one side, and they've got some 2 holes that go through the short side of them. They are actually one of my favorite Parpuka bead shapes. I really enjoy using them in bead designs. Oh, the amount for this, there's 6.5 grams for this one, so it's not a specific number, it is by weight. And then we've got some dark turquoise 2-hole lentil beads, and these are 50 per pieces, and they are that lozenge shape with the 2 holes in them. Alright, now we've got some pastel light gray pyramid hex beads. So they are hexagonally shaped with a pointy end, with a little bit of faceting on there, and then 2 holes that travel through parallel to 2 of the sides on there. And there are 5 pieces in this subscription. And then we've got some Pearl Shine Azuro, it's the name of the color, mini gemduos, and these are a little bit smaller than a regular gemduo is. We get 7 grams in this subscription. And then we've got some jet travertine blue pyramid stud. These are kind of a square shape on one side, and then they've got the pointy end on the other, and the holes go through parallel to 2 of the sides. I really like this dark purpley blue here. That's pretty great color for that. But there were 25 pieces of this in this subscription. And then we've got jet matte super duos. There were 12.5 grams in the subscription, and super duos are one of the more common 2-hole beads that you'll find out there. So let's take a look at these. Let's back up just a little bit. So that's the seed beads and 2-hole bead subscriptions. Let's get, move this out of the way a little bit. Let's get the Findings companion pack open and see what we've got in there. Like I said, I really enjoy this because there's usually some findings that I may not have seen before, or just some unique ones, and they're usually pretty well made, decent quality. But it's a really fun surprise to get every month with these. So the first one is a fancy alligator clip clasp. Say that 10 times fast. And I believe this is the ring that goes with it. I think this would be really great for maybe a beaded lanyard or something like that. Let's get this a little closer. There we go. And that's the other side. Next we've got some flower lobster clasp. There's one of these. That's a fairly large size. This is the antique silver companion pack 12. There we go, and that guy works. And we've got a loop and ball toggle. There's one of these for this toggle clasp. And then rhinestone filigree flower post earrings. These ones are a little bit dark, I think. And a decorative bail. Shapes may vary. There are 2 of them in this pack. These bails have fairly wide loops on them. This feels a little more pewtery. Then we've got some 2-inch 23 gauge ball head pins, and there are 10 of them in this pack. And tiara cast 2-loop branch links. Oh, these would be really fun to bead off of, I think. Oh, there's the earring backs. And some 6mm twisted jump rings. And there are 12 of those. All right. So that is the full subscription right here, all out. Well, also my extra package of seed beads. I have so many seed beads in this. I think we're going to do some beaded ropes this month with some of these seed beads. I'm really feeling like it. I don't know if I'm going to do some today for this because they do take a while to finish making. So it's not something that really lends itself to a design on the fly. But let me look at these 2-hole beads. Probably going to use some of these seed beads and see if I can't figure out some fun ways of putting them together. I do love silkies. These gemduos should make some fun with that. Let's see. What if we did some of these? They're very blue. Very, very blue. What if we did something like this in a design? With these mini duos there. Ooh, I love it already. Let's see if it works. Alright, so we're going to test this out a little bit, just to see how it works. And to do that, I'm going to go grab 2 needles and some beading thread. And we'll see, because I kind of like that with those there like that. Let's see if that works for me. I'm going to need to move this out of the way. Get more of these out here. I wonder which seed beads I could maybe add to these. Which color I'm gonna like best with it? Maybe the Montana blues? Ooh, or... Ooh, I know, the mauve ones. Yeah, let's use the mauve color seed beads. I think that's gonna look great. Okay, so this was my idea. I'm just gonna lay this out so that I remember how I want it to go. I'm gonna have these guys kind of in a row there, and then the thread will go through one silky and two of the gemduos, and then one silky and two gemduos. And then we'll add the seed beads on, like a second pass. We'll go back and add some beads along the outsides of this. I think that will work. Yeah. These are going to be fun. I don't think I've done this before. Yep, okay. Now, needles. Or do I do it with two? Or do I just do it with one? You know what I could do is just do a short little... I was gonna do a bracelet. I'm trying to decide if I want to do a bracelet or if I just want to do like a short little design and have it be earrings. But maybe we'll just do a bracelet and grab the clasps that we have here and do it that way. Yep, let's do a bracelet. Thread. Let's do smoke color so that it shows up on the camera. This is 6-pound Fireline. I'm gonna pull off a wingspan's worth. I'm gonna hold on to one end with one hand and my spool with the other and just spread my arms wide. And that's how you get a wingspan. I usually don't use more than that at a time because it tends to get tangled. And I've got a needle. Where are all my needles? Okay, let's get some of these. Yep, we're just gonna make a little project. Okay. I don't think this is going to need extra seed beads for this part. I think it's just going to be for along the outside. Yep, okay. Can probably do this through 4 passes of the thread. Alright, I've got my thread here, and this is absolutely not wanting to focus on that. That's okay, because I'm fine with us looking a little bit closer to my mat for this. I can adjust the focus myself if I need to. There we go. You know, before I start, I sometimes like to take this thread, especially the smoke color of Fireline, and just put it through like a little cloth or something to get, because there's often kind of a bit of the smoke flavor, and it'll come off on your fingers when you're doing it. It's not a super big deal, but a lot of people are a little annoyed by it. But if I just run it through the cloth a couple of times, that really minimizes that transfer onto the fingertips. Alright. It's still one of the best beading threads around, in my opinion. Come on, friend, through the needle hole. Alright. I'm going to pick one of these up for a stop bead and move it down almost to the end. Just go ahead and leave myself, because I don't know what I'm doing on this end, but I'm going to leave myself about 6 inches of thread. Should be enough to do something with down there at that end, but this way my beads won't go flying off. And it's the same color that I'm going to be using the rest of the thing, so if I need to use it for that design, I will. One thing you want to do when you're doing 2-hole beads is make sure that both holes are clear when you do that. So I am picking up my beads and I'm just poking through the first hole and then the second hole, the one that I want to actually go through. And that way I can make sure that both holes are clear before we move on and get locked in to those specific beads. And I do find it useful when I'm doing beads that have a right side and a wrong side to them to lay them down the way that I want them to actually be in the design so that they are okay. So that is going to work. Alright. So both of these gemduo minis, another of my silkies. And I'm just stringing on silky 2 gemduos, silky 2 gemduos. And I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I have enough of them. And then we'll go back down the other way and add the gemduos on the other side of the silkies. I'm just making this up as I go, but they're offsetting each other and themselves a little bit right now. But we're gonna move them around. I'm just gonna get all of these guys strung on. I think maybe 12 or 13 of the silkies. That's usually about how many. Might be more. Depends. We'll see when we get to that point. Oh, I already had 2 of those. I need silkies first. Oop, make sure you go on the right side. See, when I've got the bump turned this way, I'm going through the right. I'm just trying to be consistent with what hole I am going through, because that is how you don't end up with your silkies all turned around the wrong side. Oh, and see, this is why you check, because this hole is a little bit clogged up. It happens sometimes when there's like a finish or something on that. You can often clear that out, but that would be really frustrating to go through one side of the bracelet and get to that bead and not be able to go through it. And that's why you check to make sure that both holes are clear. So now that I've cleared out that hole, I can keep going. If it wasn't something that was easily cleared, I would just set that bead aside and maybe try to attack it later if I really needed it. It's perfectly normal for tool beads to sometimes find one of the beads a little bit blocked up. Again, especially if they've got a kind of a different wash or coating or something. Yeah, that doesn't look like much now, but hopefully the idea in my head is gonna pan out for me. I need more silkies. There they are. And that was a little bit of a weird bump on it. That's okay. Oh, that's too many. I was on a roll getting these strung on. I'm gonna do a few more and then see where I am size-wise. I am going to have a bit of a clasp. This is going to take up some room, so it probably doesn't need to be the full 7 inches. We're doing it in real time, friends. I hope you don't mind spending some time with me. If you want to skip ahead past any of this, like adding these beads part, please feel free. You don't have to stay with me for this entire thing. You can skip ahead to the next bit if you want to, but I am okay. Let's do 2 more. I think 2 more, no, 3 more, maybe a few. I'm just seeing where it's sitting, and I've got these 2. I've never put these beads together before, so it's kind of fun. Kind of fun getting these guys working together. Okay. I'm going to want to end on a silky, I think. Let me see where we are there. Okay. I think I'm going to use all my silkies, which is not a problem because, you know, you can always get more. If you see me using any of these beads and you're not a subscriber, but you want to see if you can get your hands on some of them, you can contact Adornable Elements, and if they have any extra, they will be available to purchase. They just don't have like a retail site or something like that for that. You just need to email them and they're happy to help. Alright, let's do this. There we go. And that's silky. Alright. Now let's pick up 5 of these 11-Os on this end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go back through this silky on this side. And I am going to pick up, now that I'm turning this over and going this way, I'm going to pick up 2 more of these gemduos, the mini gemduos, and then go through this next silky. This is why you don't want your thread to be too long. Alright, let's see how that works. Okay. I like. I was just pressing down to see if adding that second set is going to help this fit better, worse. And I think it's going to be just fine. So now 2 more gemduos. And I'm just going to pop these in between each of the silkies, going through this second hole on each of these silkies in a row. And I think this one might be upside down. It is. I went through this one the wrong way. So I'm going to need to back all of this out. Let me make sure I didn't accidentally do the same thing on any of these others. Wait. Okay, so all of those are correct. It's just this one right here. This one right here that I went through the wrong way. Now, you can, when you don't have other strands going through, it's just a single strand, you can back out of your work just by sewing back through it. If you've got other strands, sometimes the strands get tangled when you do this. So in those cases, to back out, it's usually a good idea to take your needle off your thread and sort of pull the thread through in order to back things out. But since it's only a single strand of thread, we don't have a bunch of different beads that we're going through. Just these ones that we added. It's easier to just go back. Alright. And that's the one there. Okay. So now I want to make sure it's going the right way. And then 2 more mini duos. Make sure this one's going the right way. There we go. And it's just that bump on the side. You've got to pay attention. And it looks like I wasn't paying attention, so I just had to fix it. That is fine. It's easy to fix things like that if you can catch them at the beginning of something rather than when you've already got all of the beads added and all of that. So I'm glad it was at this end that I made that mistake and not back over there, because that might have been a little more frustrating for me to do it that way. Okay, that's the one at the end. Now I've got my 11-Os, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to go back through that silky. that's how I did it before. Back through that silky. Pick up 2 gemduos, mini gemduos, and go through the next silky. And then 2 more of the mini gemduos. And I will go grab some more of those because I'm starting to, my pile is running a little low. That's totally fine. One thing too with that they do at Adornable Elements is there's usually a pattern page that you can access as a subscriber. It'll be at the bottom of your packing slip, so make sure you bookmark that if you are a subscriber before you file your packing slip away, whether that is in filing it in the round filing cabinet, or if you've got a system for keeping those. Then you can find some more patterns that you can use to make some jewelry designs with. Oh, I skipped right over that next silky, so let's back out of that and go through the next silky. There we go. This is going to be helpful for me, especially because these like to rotate on there, for me to have this sort of on the mat while I'm doing it. Sometimes it's more helpful for me to pick it up and hold it in my hands when I'm doing it, but I think especially the way these are rotatey, and until we get some of these extra beads in place and do our other passes, they might be a little floppy. It's going to be easier for me to see where things are going and how things are shaping up if I have it right there like that. I love this, actually. I really like the way that these are coming together. I'm really pleased. Sometimes when I have an idea, I have to try out several different versions of that idea until it all clicks. So the fact that this is sort of working right away makes me very happy. Very, very happy. I thought y'all might have to see me be like, oh no, this doesn't work, and cut my thread and start all over again, because that is a part of the process sometimes. I could lean into kind of the gray color a little bit more by grabbing this one, but I think I really like the light mauve in this. I think it's gonna, it just adds a touch of softness to it. You know, we've got this bright blue, and then we've got our neutrally, almost, you know, storm cloudy kind of colored. Silkies. It looks like I've got a little loop here that I went through, so I'm just gonna back that thread up. Nope, I went through twice now. So back this way, and then back through. Okay, I'm just untangling my little almost knot that was made there. It's easy to miss that sort of thing and wonder, hey, what's going on? Why is that not behaving correctly? I'm just putting my beads down here, giving the thread a little bit of a pull to help lock these guys into place on there. And these guys are all a mess. That's fine, because we're going to be straightening them up as we go. This is fun. This is a really fun challenge to see if I could do a little on the fly bead weaving design. And I'm just using the tulle beads and my seed beads for this. But yeah, what kind of beaded ropes would you like to play around or try out with this month? I've done one kumihimo recently. We've done some peyote in the round, some of that. That was a lot of fun. We could do some cubic right angle weave. We could maybe try some open stuff with some netting. Those are other options because I've got a lot of seed beads, so I can do some designs that take up or use a lot of seed beads in them, like beaded ropes and that sort of thing. Hey friends. I think there are some designs that call for super duos that might work the same with mini duos. They're fairly similar size, but I do like how the mini duos have that angular shape. It helps with fitting things together, puzzle pieces like that. In fact, let's grab some more of my mini duos because I am going to need a few more for this. How many of these 11Os do you think will fit in between each of these? I suppose I could find out. Let's just put a couple on here. 3. Is that going to be too many? Maybe 2? I think 2 is going to be a good amount. You guys can't see. Yeah, I think 2 will be a good amount. Sorry, this is something that I also do during my design process as I get distracted by things. I'll be in the middle of adding this row of beads and I'll start wondering about the next steps. think I am pulling this too tight. So I'm just trying to loosen up my thread a little bit more to give this a little more room to breathe. There you go. Oh. One of those was in the wrong spot. There we go. Yeah, loosening that up was a good idea. Sometimes thread tension can be too tight in designs like this. I love the way it's coming together though. Really like the way that looks so far. Ooh, no, I am going to actually... No, I've already got it over here. Okay, never mind. I was about to change my mind on my seed beads, but I've already committed because I've got them over here on this end. Like I said, it'll give it a little softness. I think having those beads on here. And I say I've already committed. I can start over. It's always possible to start over, but I'm just having fun with this design. Because I think the gunmetal color would also be fantastic in this design too. Oh no. Hold on. Let's get this one on here. Because it looks like I am missing my second gemduo here. It's pretty close to this end though, so it would be pretty easy for me to fix that without having to undo all the rest of this. So when we get over here, I will show you how to fix that. We'll hint, we're going to probably be using that tail end of my thread to fix it. We'll undo some of those, but I think I want to go ahead and get the rest of these guys in place, and then we'll go back and fix this one guy right over there, that single gemduo on that end. So, and maybe this is a good reason for doing some of these on the fly designs. It's because then when I do make some little mistakes and I do need to show you how to back things out, I can do that. And it's a little bit more learny than just this is how I made it and everything works perfectly right from the start. Because like, the designs don't work perfectly right from the start most of the time. They do require some fixing, some troubleshooting, some finding an error and doing it better next time. And I'm almost done with this end. We're going to stay down for right now. Now I think I'm going to end up needing some wire guardians as well. I'm thinking of this as I'm getting to the end of this, because the wire guardian thing is something that I'm going to want to probably add when I get over here to the other end. So I'm thinking ahead. Sometimes when I think ahead though, I just end up, why is this all tangly? Did I go through a loop again? I did. I went through a loop that way. There we go. Now I have a particular affinity for untangling things, so I don't mind finding where things are going through and into. It doesn't bother me that much. You might pay better attention so you don't have to deal with those things than I was. Okay, so now this side is all done, and this is doing it again. It's because it goes around the because of the way that the thread goes around the silky when I put it on. That's how it does it. That's why it's getting tangled. Okay. Alright, now let's fix this before I proceed. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab a second needle real quick for this end, since I'm not going to be using it for long. Taking my stop bead off, and I'm just going to pull the thread out here, just over here on this side. This is okay. And now I'm going to be putting these guys back on just where they were before. But I'm going to make sure I get that second gem duo in here. Let's get this needle threaded first. And let me see if I can just angle this and go through all of these at the same time. Maybe I'm coordinated enough for this. Maybe. Let's find out. I'm missing one. Darn. I thought I was going to be really cool. Oh well. Not everybody can be cool, Becky. Sometimes you have to be just okay. It's chaos. Just making sure I'm going in the right direction through there. Okay, there we go. Alright, I'm going to take that thread off, or that needle off for now, so I don't have two needles banging around while I'm working on this, because that'd just be awkward. And I'm going to grab 5 of these 11-ohs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go up through that second hole, or that first hole in this silky, through both of the gemduos that are right next to it. And then I'm going to jump over here on this gemduo here, and I'm going to go through the second hole of this gemduo. And pop 2 of these 11-ohs right in here between them. So I think that I was right, that is about the right number to fit in there. And then go through this second hole of this gemduo. Like that. And then I'm going to go back through that gemduo, the guy next to it, and the silky. I think that's how I want this to go. Anyway, let me see. I think this is the point at which picking it up is going to be beneficial for me, because then I can angle my needle a little bit better to get it in between some of these guys. Alright. So silky and gemduos. There are all these little pointy bits that it's possible for your thread to get caught on. Do I want to do it this way? No. No, I don't. I'm going to back out of these two. I feel like that's just too complicated. Going around and through and around and through. I'd like to do some straight shots with my thread, and this is the part where when you've got multiple threads and you're backing through, it's entirely possible that you will get caught on the other thread. But I'm going to give it a shot, and if all else fails, we'll just go ahead and take the needle off and pull the thread through. Alright. Backing things up, and I'm going to back things up all the way to there. Yep. Do not get caught. Don't be suspicious. How did this get around that? Yep, this is the part where you take the needle off. I was just talking about it. Oh, it needed to go back through there first. Now I see. I see how I did that wrong. Okay. It was just I needed to take the thread back through there. I didn't. That's okay. One of these threads is that one, and the other one is this one. There we go. That's a good way to tell which thread is which is pull on one of them. And then you'll know which one to go through. Right. Now, yes, we're going to do this a little bit different. All right. So where we are now is where I had just added these 5 11-ohs to the end, and I'm ready to start going around this way. I am coming out of this silky, going towards the bracelet. Get my needle back on my thread, because I'm going to turn this around right here so that I'm coming out of these and going straight over, just bridging this, and I'm just going to go through the sides. I'm not going to go through the middle again. I know it would add some reinforcement, but I feel like it's just going to be a little too complicated, and I can always go back through and reinforce that middle after I get the beads added on the outer edge. Oh, that's far too far along my needle. There we go. Alright, so I'm coming out of this silky hole that's closest to me. I'm going to jump over here to the silky hole on the other side, same silky. So I'm going around the silky once. I'm just going to put my hand on my beads. Give that a little bit of a tighten, not a super big tighten, because that makes things ruffly. I want it to be a little bit on the looser side. And I'm going to go through all of those 5 11-oh seed beads again, but I'm not going to go back through the silky. We're just going to go through these seed beads here on the end, the outside of this. All 5 of them. Did I tighten it too much? Maybe. Maybe not. Definitely not too much. Alright, so now coming out of those 5-ohs, or the 11-ohs, there's no 5-ohs involved in this. Alright, I'm going to pick up 3 11-ohs and go through the mini gemduo here on the outer edge, this one that's closest to me. That, and then 2 11-ohs, and then going through the next gemduo. And I believe 2 more 11-ohs to go through the next gemduo. Mini gemduos. That's what they are. How about 3? Maybe 3 and 2. maybe 3 and 1. That might work. I don't like just the 2. 11 knows the way that that looks. This is where we get our "how did you design that, Becky" thing. You've got to play around with your beads to see, especially when you're adding like 11 O's between beads, to see what fits best between all of them. Three, and then maybe 1 between that and the next one. Let's try. One, 2, 3. I'm going to keep going and see if I like the way that this is looking after a while. So 3 between the 2 that are grouped together, like that. Yeah, that's giving me a better feel, a better shape. And then 1 between that group of 2 and the next one. Yep, I like this. I like that better than the groups of 2. See how that's kind of stabilizing it too, so they're not flapping around wildly. Alright, well this is going to take me a little while to do. I think this might be a good place for me to say I will meet you at the end of this, because again, we could have like a nice 5-hour video, which I know some of you would not object to. But now that I'm happy with this, I think I'm going to keep adding these between these all the way up to the end. And when I get here to this end, we're going to turn around and go back down the other side. But I'm also going to be adding a little loop here that we can use to attach the clasps to. So when I get to this end, I'll show you how to do the loop. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to continue adding some of these beads in between my little mini gemduos. See how it's got a little, you can help them pop out a little bit if you want to, between these, like that. I like that. I like it a lot. Pretty happy with the way that that's looking. Alright, I'm going to keep going. When we get to the end, I'll show you how to do a little loop on there. Alright, so I've already done this one side with adding all of those seed beads. It's a little bit loosey-goosey, but that's okay because I can tighten it up just a little bit. Not too much, but it's already stabilized quite a bit of this. But I'm coming out of this gemduo here on the side. I'm going to fill in this space over here with 3 11O seed beads. I'm going to go just through the first 3 of the 11Os on the edge of that silky. now that I'm coming out of that center 11-0, I'm going to pick up, let's do 7. 1, 2, 3, well actually no, let's do 5. Let's just go for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 11-0 seed beads, and then I'm going to go right back through that same seed bead that I'm coming out of, so I can make a little loop. You could also use a wire guardian here instead of a little loop of seed beads, but this is something that I'm going to put a jump ring through in a little bit to attach my clasp to, and then I'm just going to go through all of those seed beads plus that one that we were coming out of another time to reinforce it, like that, and then one more time. Okay, now I can go back through the rest of this. So I ended up going through that other loop 3 times. Going back through the rest of this, coming up the side, and I'm going to continue the same way that I did the first side by grabbing my 3 11-0s and going through that first gemduo there, mini gemduo, and then picking up 3 more 11-0s, go through that next gemduo and that little pair. We're just doing 3 between the pairs, and then a single 11-0 to join them, like that. 3 more. Oop. And a single. And I'm going to continue like this down the second side and get these 11-0s into place. And when I do, I will join you back here at this end, where I'm going to make a loop the exact same way, and then we'll tie off our thread, burn off our ends, and attach our clasp. So I'm going to add my 11-0s here, and I'll meet you back here when that's done. Okay, so here's the other end, and as you can see, I made a little loop on the other end with some seed beads, and I went through it 3 different times to get that all secured. And I'm just coming out of this group of seed beads next to my tail thread, my beginning thread where I started all of this. I'm just going to give that just a little bit of a tug, and I'm going to tie this. I'm just going to do a little knot right here. We're going to go overhand, give that a little tighten, and then going to go through the next part of a square knot, but I'm going to go through twice. So it is a surgeon's knot instead. Give that a bit of a tighten. I'm going to move one of my threads away from where the knot is so that I'm just coming out of there. And that's just so that I'm not burning the thread right next to where the knot is. I mean, I am going to be burning one of them next to the knot, but it's going to be this one. There we go. I've got my little thread burner. There we go. So now I've got my bracelet almost all done. I didn't go through the beads the way I thought I did. I went outside of the beads. Did not notice that. That's okay, that is easy enough to fix. Just burn it off there. There we go. There we go. Alright, so now I've gone ahead, let's scooch back a little bit. I've gone ahead and grabbed some of the jump rings that came in the box. I've got that clasp that I pulled out. And I've got some tools that I'm going to be using to open and close the jump rings. It's just going to be one set of pliers to hold one side of the jump rings, and then chain nose pliers to open the next. And let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to twist it open like that. I think it needs to be open a little bit wider to fit through this loop. Go. And then this part of my clasp. This is for the loop part of the toggle clasp. Make sure that that marries up on the other side. And then for the toggle part, I usually like for there to be a little more articulation with that. So I grabbed 2 of the jump rings for this. I'm going to attach one to the toggle. Close that up. Now I'll take the other one. And attach that to my loop. And then to the jump ring that I just added to the toggle. So and these are the twisted jump rings that came in my Findings companion pack. Alright. And I've got a bracelet. Yes, and the toggle works. That's very pretty. Let's see what it looks like on. Let's see if I made it long enough. We're about to find out. Wow, okay. I did. I made it long enough. This is a little bit of an awkward toggle. Looks like it has to be at a specific angle to get through. But look at that, it works. So there we go. We've got our design on the fly bracelet using some of the 2-hole beads and seed beads that came in my Adornable Elements Beads of the Month Club. And we finished it off using some of the Findings that came in the Findings pack. Zoom out just a little bit more, friends. There we go. That's everybody, I think, on there. This is where the silkies were. So I think we can safely put them over here so they're still included in this group. And there you go, Adornable Elements. It is a fun bead subscription. I always enjoy getting it every month, and I really like that I can cycle through the different subscription plans using the the one that I said. Why? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I really like being able to cycle through the different subscriptions that they have available using the Rotating Beads of the Month Club, because I can't make decisions, especially when there's so much fun stuff to pick from. But I really love the ones that I get every single month, the tool bead and seed beads, and I like being able to play with the other ones. Alright, if you enjoyed this, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. And if you want to check out Adornable Elements, there will be a link in the description below. If you use my coupon code, you can get a little discount off your first month subscription, and it will let them know that you are one of my viewers. So they'll try to match up the subscriptions. If you do the 2-hole bead, seed bead, or the rotating, they'll try to match up if they have availability so that you get the same beads that I get every month and you can make along with me. Alright, until next time, my friends, happy beading.